Welcome to the Fanily!
Hey guys, today I'm taking a My Little Pony Rarity figure and I'm going to customize her to look more like the last unicorn. And just to pull the tag out here, this is one of the cheap ones that were just $3.50 at Walmart. And for all the younger viewers today, please talk to your parents before you do any customization on your toys. And always ask for help and make sure that it's age appropriate for you to do by yourself. If not, get an adult to help you. So first things first, we're just going to get rid of all the little packagings and bindings on our pretty little Rarity girl here. Rarity is one of my favorites. And I just picked her because she would be really easy to customize since the last unicorn is already white, so we'll probably just need to paint her eyes and change her hair and then change her cutie mark. So first things first, I think I'm going to try and remove her head and maybe... okay. Ooh, she's got like long strings here from where they pulled her from the plastic mold too quickly. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll probably have to trim those later. And I don't think you can see in there, but you can tell where the hair is all just like glued up in there. So we're gonna try and break that out first. And now I'm gonna try and cut her hair as close as I can to her little pony scalp mold. You wanna be very careful that you don't miss and cut her horn or her ears. This is really more art than science. Wow, what a beautiful hairdo. Don't you think Rarity would just love it? And because I do have other crafting projects and I might want to use this hair later, I am going to save it by using the rubber band that I got off of Rarity. I'm going to use these beadsmith pliers that I got from Hobby Lobby. I'm not really trying to go chop in there. I'm just kind of grinding it back and forth to sort of break the glue loose and get it out of there. Well, I'm getting some of it out. She's got a hairy brain. Ooh, I got a big gob to come out just there. Oh goodness, look at that. Ooh! Now you don't have to worry about getting like every little piece of hair out of there. I just want to make sure I get enough out so that when I put in glue later after I reroot her hair, that it's not going to be a big pain in the butt and it's going to stay where I put it. I'm just going to cut off these extra long plastic strands that got stuck on Rarity. Ooh, we got one long hair still too. My pliers just don't seem to be long enough, so I'm going to use some scissors and try to knock the rest of this glue loose. Oh, do you hear the glue getting broken up by the scissors? Now you do have to be really careful with the scissors too, because you can like make the hole in her neck too big. You see where it's like grinding back and forth and ripping up some of it? Got a big chunk of glue. Oh, almost got it all. Let me see if I can get some of this out of here. It's like I pulled out a tribble. Wow! I just have this one little piece and I can't reach it. There we go. I got that last strand. I just had to get like a toothpick and jab it back in there. All right, that looks mostly empty on the inside. There's a few strands of hairs just back in there still, but not a big deal. We've got enough that the glue will set just right, and the tail should be so much easier to fix. We're just gonna go cut right through. And since it's brand new, it already has a rubber band around the tail, so I don't have to worry about saving that part. And then for our tail, we're just gonna take the pliers and go shove it back on in there until her tail becomes a booty hole. Now, if I wanted to take this piece off and pull the hair out, I could, but this piece doesn't really matter for that so much, so let's not worry about it. Next, we need to take care of the cutie mark. And what I'm gonna use is what's called rounds. You can find these in the makeup aisle, and nail polish remover that is 100% acetone. It's important to remember that acetone will remove paint, whereas regular nail polish remover will just kind of smear paint. So be really aware of what kind you buy. And I'm just gonna put a little bit on my rounds, and we're just gonna wipe that off. You see that came right off beautifully. And the reason that the white paint didn't come off with it is because it's not actually paint, that's just a white mold for the plastic. So that's permanent, and that makes our job much easier. Oh, and actually, I just realized the last unicorn actually does have purple eyes, just like Rarity. So we don't really have to do anything else or any kind of repainting with her body. So let's put on her cutie mark and then go straight to rerooting. Okay guys, now step 2 is going to be to put the cutie mark on the horse, since she's all the right color already with the right color eyes. And I'm going to use the King's Gold and the white by Apple Barrel to make a really light yellow. And I'm going to use that to do the moon because she's a pony and she's been around for many moons. moons still, so that seemed more fitting than the butterfly or the Red Bull. But you can use whatever cutie mark you want to make. So I'm just going to get an empty little plastic cup that I can throw away at the end. Oops, that's a little more yellow than I probably want, but that's fine. We'll just overcompensate on the white a bit. And now we just have to go mixing. Yeah, that is way more yellow than I needed, but that's fine. So I'm just going to try and hand paint on here, freehand, a nice pretty crescent moon, and maybe I won't mess it up. We'll find out. If you do your cutie mark and you hate it, remember you still have that acetone you can use to take it right back off. Let me try on the other side for a second. Yeah, that looks much more moon-shaped. I'm just gonna wipe this side off while it's still wet. Yeah, it's still wet enough. I can wipe that right off. I'm gonna try to make something more like that on this side. Yeah, I'm just gonna let that be like a backward C, and I put it on kind of thick so I don't have to try and trace this over and over again. Oh, this side is not as good as this side, so I'll probably display her from that angle. But now we just have to let that dry for a bit. Now that my cutie mark is dry, I'm gonna take this Duraclear Soft Touch varnish, and I'm just gonna cover the cutie mark area and kind of a little bit around Rarity's body there, just so it's all uniform feeling throughout. And this will dry clear, so it's okay if it kind of moves around and goes farther than you expect it to. And her body really doesn't need it because I didn't do any customizing on the rest of her body. I didn't change the color or anything. But I don't want to pick her up later and have the cutie mark area feel a lot different than the rest of her body, so that's why I'm just going to give it a real light coat. And while that's drying, let's get on to rooting the hair. First things first, you are going to need hair to put into your new pony, and you are going to need a rerooting tool, and this one is one made specifically for dolls. I got this on eBay, but if you email debim@sbcglobal.net, the lady that makes them also sells them directly, and they're about $15 with shipping, and ouch, they are very sharp, so please, you need adult supervision before you start rerooting any hair on any kind of customization. But before we get started on that, I am going to take a seam ripper, which as you can see, the rerooting tool is very similar at the end, except it's so much smaller than the seam ripper. But what I'm going to do with the seam ripper is just kind of go into some of these holes and make sure that they're nice and open and ready to accept a big plug-in of hair in each slot, because these are so small they can break and you want to be really careful with them. So the less they have to work and strain, the better. So I'm just gonna make sure all these holes are open and ready for new hair placements. You just can kind of get in there and wiggle if it doesn't seem like it's getting any bigger. And I am going to add some holes down the middle, because when they get the really thick hair on the My Little Ponies in the store, it's because they come out of a factory that way. And obviously doing that by hand, I'm not going to be able to be very successful. Alright, now for the hair, I have this glow-in-the-dark wig that I found at Five Below for $5. So I'm going to give it a try. Hopefully it's going to be as long as I need it to be. Halloween time is a great time to start a rerooting project because wigs are so cheap and they're everywhere. And usually I would cut from the bottom in the back, but because I don't plan on ever wearing this, I'm just gonna go to get the longest hairs I can from the top. So first things first, I'm just gonna find some long strands and see how far down to the root I can get it, and then just cut. So I'm gonna put this over to the side, cut a few more like that. So even though I have this big glob of hair, I just want to take like a little tiny bit. You just want to spin it in your fingers until it tries to naturally make a loop, but that one came undone on me, so let me try again. Then we're going to take the tool and just try to load it and have the ends be as even as you can get them. It doesn't have to be perfect because you'll probably do trims anyways. And since this is kind of a big plug of hair, I'm going to go into the big hole And there we go. We have our first strand of last unicorn hair. And just one more time to show you, you want to take a pretty thin strand. You might even want it thinner than this. And you're just going to twist it in between your fingers till it makes that kind of natural braid look until you can find a place to load it all in your tool. Make sure it's pretty even at the bottom and then pick a hole and stick in that hole. With these rerooting tools, since the needle is so small at the end, they are very easy to break, so you don't want to overload it. And you always want to make sure that you're firm and pressing hard, but you're not bending, or, you know, this is not the tool where you want to start working in holes or anything into the pony, because it's a pretty expensive tool for how small it is. You want to just be firm with it, but very careful. Honestly, this is probably more the size strand that you want to be working with so that you're sure that you don't damage your rerooting tool. And the hair actually stays in pretty good by itself, but when we're all finished, I am going to put glue up in there just so that nothing ends up coming out later. And as you go, you're just going to kind of pull out the excess strands of hair that didn't stick into the scalp of your doll, and that's fine. That's going to happen no matter what. If you have a phone with a speaker function, you're really not going to have a lot to do other than plugging in this hair. So while you're rooting, it's a great time to call relatives and catch up with Grandma. Yeah, Grandma, I wanted to call and see how you're doing after your surgery.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing real good.
Okay, so we're pretty much done with her head now. We just need to kind of gently pull out any loose strands of hair. And she looks crazy right now, but we're going to fix that in just a few minutes. But first, we want to use some clear tacky glue and put it up in Rarity's neck hole so that all that extra hair does not come out later. Alright, we just need to leave her head upside down for that glue to dry. But while we're doing that, we are going to work on her tail. And for this one, you don't have to worry about the strands being as thin because we have a huge hole to work with. Just make sure you're not totally overloading your tool to where it cannot function at all. You don't want to do that. Alright, so it's kind of even at the bottom. That's how we want it. And we're just going to plug it in, pull out the excess. And the nice thing with the tail is, for some reason, once you get so much hair in it, it kind of really secures itself in there. But because there is a peg over the neck hole, I'm not going to try to put any glue in on the tail because I don't want to ruin my $15 tool. And you're just going to keep packing that in until it's really tight and you really don't feel like you can get much more in without breaking your tool or ripping the plastic. So you want to make sure that's super snug in there. I'm just going to pull out the excess pieces and try and shove them back in, really, so I don't have to cut any more hair. Alright, and it is in there pretty sturdy, so like I said, I'm not going to really fuss about any glue, but the tail is so much more quick and easy than the head. Alright, and I'm just going to say that that's pretty good. That's good enough. You don't want to go crazy, and when you brush it, you probably want to hold it at the base and not just brush up here. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now I'm going to attach the head back on. Come on. Oh my gosh, it's such a tough head. Ah, there we go. Okay. And I'm just going to hold her upside down for a little bit so that glue kind of goes down here into the head and not make it to where she can't move her neck anymore. While we're waiting, might as well try and soften up that hair some. Because her molding is white and she's not painted white, she should be perfectly fine to dip in the water for extended amounts of time. So I'm just going to put the whole of our new unicorn buddy down in here. I'm going to kind of try and baby her new cutie mark just so that it doesn't run and come off. Alright, now I'm going to take this out off camera so it doesn't drip all over my foam here. Okay, so now to kind of style it somewhat, I'm going to wrap it around her legs, and that should help give it a little bit of a curly effect. For her head, you just want to kind of work on it every so often. Just going to wrap it around her body a little bit, make a little like Rarity chic quilt here. Then I'm going to take this paper towel that I've been working on and just kind of double wrap it, because that way I can then kind of set her on things and push down on it a little bit without the hair going everywhere. So I'm gonna just like put something on top of her that's got just a tiny bit of weight, so that way it'll kind of dry the way that I want it to, if that makes any sense. Okay, I think she's had decent time to dry up, so let's see what we've got here. Oh, that actually came out pretty good. It kind of has the Rarity foof back in it already. And yeah, the tail didn't come out too bad either, but I am gonna try trim it up just a little bit because it's kind of like strangely long. So I'm just going to take the ends where it starts to get tapered and just give her a little bit of a clean up. And then if the glue is all nice and settled, okay, yeah, her head still moves, so I didn't glue it badly or too much or anything. And oh, she's still losing a couple hairs, but that's okay. She'll probably do that for the first couple brush outs and everything. Now let's see, do I really need to work on her hair at all? I'm just gonna trim up a few loose ends just so that it's not like crazy split ends. Some are like an extra 6 inches long hairs. So that came out pretty good overall. Let's check the glow in the dark capacity now. Okay, ready? Ready? Oh, I can see it glowing. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's so cute. I love that it glows. It glows in the moonlight because she's our little pony of a unicorn who has not yet come to her full adulthood yet. So she still has things to learn. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed my rerooting tutorial customization video here. Kyrie and I are really hoping to do a lot more crafting videos in the future, so please like, subscribe, comment, share, do all that good stuff. And most of all, tell us what kind of things you want to see, okay?
Hey, you're an all-white unicorn.
That's right.
Where are you going?
Well, I don't really know yet. I'm kind of new, so I think I'm gonna go find my own forest to live in, protect some animals, you know, all that jazz.
I have all the animals in the forest, so you can stay here if you want.
Oh, really? Well, that'd be cool, but I think I want to be on my own for a little while.
No worries, I understand.
I'll protect some of your critters if you want me to.
Okay.
Follow me, babies.
Meow.
Mwah. When the last eagle flies over the last crumbling mountain, when the last lion roars at the last...
Hey Fanily members, do you remember what other cutie mark options I suggested? Which one of these was not one of my suggestions? The butterfly, the ocean, or the Red Bull? Leave your answer in the comments. If you had fun watching today's video, don't forget to subscribe so that you can see more, and let us know in the comments what other toy videos you might want to see in the future. Also, don't forget to check out our other channel, The Fangirl, where we talk about all kinds of movies, TV shows, and even books and comics. But viewer discretion is advised. See you next time, Fanily members!